But the thing here is that in the countryside, we talk to mayors, like I was able to speak with the mayor of Iligan. I said, I hope you will win, because he committed that after this election, that he will make 100 hectares available in all his barangays for us to be able to end landlessness for 10,000 families, because they have 81,000 hectares in Iligan alone. And see, there is no lack of land, there is no lack of resources, there is no lack of creativity. I think what is missing is the lack of trust. And so it's important that, when we talk about 50,000 communities, one per barangay, I think it's easier for people to understand, because we have 2,000 communities in different stages of transformation. And we're very happy that people are very patient with us, because addressing poverty that has been with us for several generations will not happen overnight. It cannot be done by one person or one organization. And that's why we appreciate that John here and other CEOs are able to see the vision, and that it is growing every year, because oftentimes charity is just a one-shot deal, and oftentimes CSR has been that for some time, and I'm happy that we talk now about creating shared value, because that is lasting. And so I just want to share with you something that I also mentioned at the APEC when I was invited to speak about CSR at the CEO's Forum. But I mentioned there that this, coming from an underdeveloped country like the Philippines, I look at creating shared value as an instrument of hope, a stimulus for economic growth, for the rich to share, a motivation for the rich to share, and for the idle to work. While it is viewed in more prosperous nations as philanthropy, corporate goodwill, and community service, we see it as a vehicle to nation building and a way to being a contributing member of the global economy, not its added burden. CSV as a development tool must not only be top-down, but also importantly and simultaneously as ground-up. Corporate planning and funding must trigger counterpart effort and service from those that are being helped. To be effective and sustainable, it must serve the interests of both the giver and the receiver for the sake of the common good. Most importantly, CSV must help Filipinos end poverty in the Philippines, Asians end poverty in Asia. It goes beyond profit and self-interest. Some call it enlightened self-interest. Bill Gates says it's creative capitalism. I just call it patriotism as a Filipino. That it's just by working with Nestlé has been very, and other partners, that's an expression also of my love for my country. That no Filipino should ever consider anyone as enemy. That the poor are not the enemy of the rich. The landowners are not the enemy of the landless. That corporations are not the enemy of their laborers or their workers. That the government leaders are not the enemy of their voters. The Christians are not the enemy of Muslims, and so on. And there is shared value for every Filipino who lives in this country, and shared value for this generation as well as the next generation. There is shared value for the Filipinos who are Asians, and shared values for the Westerners who come here to do business. And we are becoming global citizens. My own daughter who came from Nestlé, got married to an Englishman like John. And my 3 grandchildren from that union, I call them little cappuccinos. And so this is a world that we all share, a world that can be better than what it is, a world that we can pass on to our children. But I am just looking forward to the next 14 years, because that's as far as my vision it can go. That in 14 years, 2024, I'll be 74 because I just turned 60. And my grandchildren will be as numerous as the stars in heaven, because not only I consider my own blood children as mine, but including the orphans and all the children of the poor in the urban area, in the slums of Manila, that we are trying to transform, as well as the children of poor fisher folks, and also the subsistence farmers in the countryside. And we can do this massively. We can do this in Hernani, Samar, in Borongan, and in San Jose, Antique, Last week, I was in Compostela Valley to build homes for the mudslide victims of Mount Diwalwal, and I talked to the NPA commanders who have returned to the fold because there is now dignity and hope and security for them. And I realized in the same way that urban squatting is also a consequence of landlessness and homelessness and hunger in the countryside, so is it also the reason why people also rebel in the countryside. And so I realized that we will continue to walk with Nestlé towards a prosperous nation, but we will do this with more corporations, with more NGOs, because we are now, from building houses, we now have to build also the water system. We want also to preserve the underground aquifer. We now have to do rainwater harvesting. We have to do the reed bed system of human waste management. We're working now, working with a group under Bebet Gozon called Green Kalinga. We're now working also we need to address the problem of illiteracy and ignorance. And so 2 weeks ago, I accepted to be the chairman of Taguig City University, TCU. We will make it the first university for the rising Filipino. And the 8,000 students come from the public schools, but we hope that Nestlé can help set up also a college on CSV. But this is also building for the next generation. This is a beautiful world that it's a privilege for all of us to live in, and it's a bright future for the next generation if we take care of it. Thank you very much, and God bless our country.